Yeah, I want to thank you for the invitation, also on behalf of CIV, of course. And so let's start. Okay, do you see the presentation?
Yeah, I hope you...
Very good.
83 slides you will manage in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I will manage it. It's 25 minutes, so don't worry. Okay, so let's start from who we are, from CIV. So CIV is a consortium of 3 nurserymen located in Italy that in the 80s joined together forming CIV. And the 3 nurserymen are Mazzoni, Tagliani, and Salvi, as you can see. Altogether, the 3 nurserymen are selling 7 million rootstocks every year, mostly of pears and apples. 2.5 million of trees, mainly apples, let's say. And only Mazzoni and Salvi sells 300 million of strawberry plants. It is worth noting also that Mazzoni and Salvi are vertically integrated in the supply chain, and they also produce and commercialize fruit.
Marco, make it full screen, please.
Okay. Do you see now? Wait, I think it's better if I do like this. Give me 1 second, sorry. I share this screen. Do you see it now?
Yeah, you could choose to speak in Italian or
no, I speak in English. I think if there are some people that can speak, that can understand English, maybe it's better. So I go fast because I would like to cover all the topics. So this is CIV. CIV is an experimental station, and we have 52 hectares, equally shared between strawberries and apples, as you can see. And here, let's say we breed new varieties. We breed the new apple and strawberry varieties. So CIV is not just breeding. So we are 4 core activities. One is the breeding. Now we own, we totally own the apple and the strawberry breeding projects, but we also cooperate with other companies all around the world in other projects to breed the new rootstocks and pears and other varieties of other species. We also certify the plant propagating material. So plant propagated material produced by CIV is certified at European level. And we also evaluate new varieties from third parties, and especially we manage the intellectual property right of our varieties and of third-party varieties as well. So very quickly, the apple breeding program, more or less, we cross every year from 50,000 to 30,000 seedlings. This is what we have every year in terms of new genotype derived by our crosses. And the main objectives, of course, is the taste of the fruit, so the eating experience and the organoleptic, let's say, characteristics. Resistances to diseases, because we would like to create new varieties that are environmentally friendly. And of course, it is interesting and it is very important to highlight that the new varieties are at least scab resistant. The new CIV varieties are at least scab resistant, and I think that in the next years we will have double resistances. So we are looking forward to obtaining mildew and scab resistant varieties. So of course our varieties are let's say, they do have high genetic traits, so inherently, intrinsically, they have good genetic characteristics that are very important in when you plant varieties, maybe in very bad conditions. For example, in areas in which you struggle to get coloration or you have poor soil condition, if you have a good genetics, then you can overcome these problems. So I go quick. So I want to show you that we are cooperating, as I told you before, with many entities all around the world. In Mexico with Giddings, in Italy with the University of Bologna, and we are founding members of the International New Variety Networks, which is an association of nurserymen all around the world, whose aim is to develop the sharing and the development of varieties in a coordinated manner. These are some of our brands, and here you have some figures about the quantity of intellectual property rights that we have all around the world. In terms, as regards the apple breeding program, we have three main, let's say, testing stations at 0 meters above the sea level, at 200 meters above the sea level, and at 500 meters above the sea level. So we want to see whether the new selections are consistent in terms of features. It is true that normally the apples are performing better at higher elevation, but one of our goal is to find varieties that are good in the valley, in which you struggle to get coloration and you struggle to get quality. So we participate to many trade shows all around the world. We are very active in open fields and in creating, let's say, interest towards the organization, international organizations such as INN. So the breeding program, the strawberry breeding program is, of course, based on a very, let's say, interesting and very, let's say, very big, I would say, germplasm. And this is also formed by selections that CIV is keeping and using to make the crosses. This is the process, and of course, you need 10 years more or less to get a new strawberry. On the other hand, maybe I forgot to mention that with the apples, you need 20 years to get a new varieties. Here we have more trial stations because, as you may know, strawberries, there are different kinds of strawberries, and according to the type of strawberries, we have to evaluate in different areas, from low chill areas, so south of Italy and south of Spain, to cold climates in Northern Europe and in the Italian mountains. So now let's start to discuss about the novelties, which is maybe something that you are interested in. In terms of apple, I'm going to show you some new interesting varieties. I start with Fusion. Fusion is an hybrid, which is very similar to a Fuji in terms of shape. It's a little bit smaller. And also in terms of harvesting time, it is harvested more or less in the same period. What is different is, I would like to highlight, certain, let's say, aspects that are very, very important. There are three advantages of Fusion if compared to traditional Fujis. One is, of course, the storability. Storability of Fusion is better than traditional Fujis, because in March, more or less, you still have a fruit that is edible with a sugar that is perceivable. On the other hand, if you eat Fujis out of the refrigerator, out of the cold room in March, normally you don't feel any taste, you just feel water. And it is scab resistant, and this is very important, and it does not have any biannual bearing. So you have three advantages if compared to Fuji. These are other pictures from 0 meters above the sea level. So you see that the fruit is looking nice. And here the three advantages that I have just explained you. Going forward, We move ahead to our Fuji. We do have our clone, and this is our clone, a picture from this year from the mountains. It was very nice. It is good looking, as you can see. The productivity this year was amazing. We have pictures from bee balm trees and pictures from, let's say, spindle trees in different locations. And I don't think I have nothing to add with respect to the Fuji. Fujis are Fujis. This is our total red clone that is performing well also in the valley. Here there is a video. We don't have time to see it, but you can click on this link and you can see a video took by myself, taken by myself in these orchards. Then it is, I would like to show you CIV T15 called the T-Rex, which is our early total red gala. Also here, it is a gala, is our clone, is totally red, also at 0 meters above the sea level, and I think this is very interesting. But what is also interesting is that it really ripens earlier than the other galas. We estimate 3 to 5 days earlier, and so you can really harvest some days before. You have a totally red coloration, and the fruit is ripe. So this is very interesting. And also the size is a little bit bigger than other galas. Of course, I erased here the names of competing galas, but trust me, these are galas that are commonly planted in Italy, and our galas was darker and bigger, and these are samples from our valley. This is another picture from our valley at 0 meters above the sea level, and I move forward. This is what I just said. Smeralda is an hybrid. It's very interesting because it's a green apple that can be harvested 8 days after gala, so in the early period, but it has a long on-tree ripe life. It means that you can leave the fruit on the trees for 1.5 months, even for 1.5 months, and no fruit are falling down. The fruit are turning yellow. I have pictures that shows that. Give me 1 second. We don't have time to go through all this information, but so harvested in this case was 2 weeks after galas, and this was a comparison in October. So you see that the fruit still keep a very interesting fruit internal quality. And of course, the yellow fruit are sweeter because they did have accumulated more sugar, and is still eatable. So if you want something which is sparkling, acidic, you can harvest the green fruit. If you want something more yellowish that in the cold room will definitely get the yellow, more or less like a golden delicious, you need to wait 1 month or 1.5 months on the tree, and then you harvest the fruit, and you can still store it till 12 months. So it is very interesting. These are the 3 typologies of fruit you can get: early harvest, middle harvest, and late harvest. Then I would like to show the last one. This is not a scab-resistant variety, but I think in places located at high elevation, you do have a very nice fruit, a pinkish fruit. This is a cross with, of course, Crips pink, and you do have a pinkish fruit which is very, very sweet. So this is what I would like you to remember about Sinfonia, which is the name of this variety. Variety suitable for high elevation, which is pinkish and which is very sweet. So now I go to the strawberry. What is important to highlight about the strawberry is that there are common, let's say, features which are typical of our genetics. So our plants are quite robust, rustic, we say, and are resistant to root diseases and also to oidium in the majority of the cases. And normally we are looking forward to obtaining varieties with a long harvest season, especially for June bearers. So we would like varieties that can be harvested for 1 month or 1.5 months. Varieties that are early. This is true for all varieties, also for low chill varieties. We would like, of course, productive varieties, and of course we would like to have the fruit quality. Fruit quality is now one of the main criterion in our breeding program. So I start to, sorry. Okay, now I'm going to show you the June bearers. The most famous, of course, is Clery, but we do have some novelties. So this is a picture of Clery. Clery is a very early June bearer and can be cultivated both out of soil and in soil, so depending on your cultivation techniques. Of course, it's a variety with high chill requirements and very productive. The most interesting features, which is the information you have to remember, is the earliness, so the early ripening, and the fact that you can easily transport the fruit without, let's say, ruin it, without, let's say, we can say it's resistant to manipulation and handling. I'm sure you know Clery because it's quite famous also in Eastern European countries. Indeed, this is the diffusion of Clery. Clery, it is worth noting that in 2019, the average sales done by CIV shareholders, Salvi Mazzoni, was about 100 million plants. In France, is the most important varieties, one of the most important varieties, along with Gariguette. In Germany, it accounts for 30% of the overall plants, strawberry plants sold and planted every year. And we have also an international projects in other countries such as Canada. So Aprica is another interesting variety, which is very interesting for the firmness and the very good shelf life. So this is, I think, the most interesting advantage. You can plant it, you cultivate it, and then you can export also in neighboring countries. And the taste is interesting because you have a balance between the sweetness and the acidity. This is a novelty. It's quite new. It's Licia. It's a novelty, and as you can see, the shape of the fruit of Licia is very interesting because it resembles more or less the strawberries that are typically cultivated in warm climate in south of Europe. So this conical uniform shape, I think, is very interesting. It is also very interesting that you can harvest 1 time per week. You don't have to harvest every days or every 2 days in the peak of the season, because you are scared that the fruit gets rotten on the plant. No, the fruit can stay on the plant without losing any quality. This is one of the most important characteristics. The shape and the flavor is very, very nice. And it is suitable both for, let's say, soil, in ground, in-house production under tunnel, and also out of soil productions. Here you can see the shape. Very interesting. Now Sibilla is not early. Is a mid to late flowering varieties and mid to late ripening varieties. The advantage is that having the flowering in the mid-late season, you can easily escape the late frost. And this year was one of the years in which Sibylla growers did have amazing results, because we had 2 late frost events, and Sibylla was not affected because of this reason. And of course, the taste is very nice, and also the storability and the shelf life is very nice. And we have testimony of growers that did ship Sibylla till Norway, and I think it's a very nice achievement. Again, pictures of Sibylla. Jolie, a few words about Jolie. Jolie is another interesting variety in the mid-late period, because of the regular shape throughout the pickings. I mean, in all picking, you did have the same shape of the fruit and the same fruit size, and this is an advantage for those growers that would like to have, let's say, a variety like this to put in their portfolio. Of course, the firmness is very nice, and also the storability is good. Not as good as Sibylla, anyhow. So a few words about the everbearers, and then my presentation is finished. Murano, Vivara, Cantus, and Anya are the 4, let's say, proposals of CIV. Murano, I'm sure you know it, is a very famous day-neutral varieties, which is amazing in terms of flavors and in terms of also fruit organoleptic characteristics, in terms of firmness as well. You don't have any issue in summertime when the temperature are very high. You still have a very nice quality of the fruit in the pickings that are occurring in that period. And the ripening is early, but then is equally distributed throughout the production season. You have to think that Murano is one of the most important day-neutral varieties planted in the UK nowadays, and now is being developed all around the world in many countries, such as the United States, Russia, Canada, and Mexico. Vivara, in terms of organoleptic characteristics, is worse than Murano, but is very, very productive. And this fact, I think, is a strong advantage, because every year you do get 20 to 25% higher productivity than Murano. And also for growers that are planting day neutral, we do think that this can be a valuable solution to couple with Murano, maybe having 70% of Murano and 30% of Vivara can be very interesting for the growers. Then we have the last 2 day-neutral varieties that are quite new. This is Cantus. Cantus is very interesting because it's more productive than Murano, and also it has a very interesting flavor, which is something that we are looking for in our very new, let's say, varieties. And also the fruit size is constant throughout the season, which is another parameter that we are looking for. And also the skin seems to be very resistant to bruising, handling, and manipulation. So for these reasons, Cantus is taking ground in Northern European countries as well, but we do hope that other growers and other, let's say, marketers would appreciate this variety in other countries. The last one is Anya. Anya and Cantus are brother and sisters, let's say, but Anya and both of them, they have a very interesting flavor, but Anya is the one that really stand out in terms of flavor. So the most interesting characteristic of Anya is the fact that it has a unique aromatic flavor which really resembles the one of the wild strawberries that you can find in the forest. So this is the main characteristics of Anya. So I hope to give you an overview of CIV, of our novelties. I did try to focus on the main aspects for each, let's say, varieties. Of course, if you have some information, if you want to get more information, you can contact me. I am responsible of the business development at CIV. What I'm doing is licensing. I'm licensing the right to exploit our intellectual property rights, and I normally do business with nurserymen or big fruit cooperatives, big fruit marketers. If you want to directly buy plants, you have to speak with our 3 shareholders, Salvi, Mazzoni, Italiani, that I showed in the very first slides. So thank you very much for listening me. I hope you enjoyed and have fun and have a good continuation. Bye.
Marco, thank you very much. You was just in time, finished all your slides. Very interesting presentation, and we hope for future collaboration, and welcome to Moldova. Hope after this pandemic we will go better. Thank you very much again, and see you next time.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye.